Emojis get a refresh and new additions amid growing use for work. Here's a fun story that was in the Wall Street Journal, and it talks about how the big tech firms, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, are investing significant resources in making sure that we have all of our emotions and all of our feelings throughout the day available to us in the form of an emoji. And while it's a fun story, it's a fun headline, I think it does speak to some kind of significant through lines or trends that we're seeing. And it's always good to look at kind of the big tech firms who have unlimited, well, nearly unlimited resources to see where they're making investments and use those as forward-looking indicators as practitioners of marketing and employer brand to see where their priorities are and then kind of see if we can implement those with our own organizations. So when I see a headline like this, I immediately pull kind of two takeaways. And the first is that whether or not your organization is looking to get back into an in-person or a hybrid model, I think we're going to see remote be a more permanent kind of structure that we're going to have to acknowledge in the workplace. The from an employer brand standpoint, it's one of those things that I think more and more employees or more and more job candidates are going to want to see from their employers, and or at least some sort of flex time or hybrid model, and so it's just something that we're probably going to need to think about, and perhaps big tech investing in these kind of communication or digital communication tools is a forward-looking indicator that kind of trend. But the second thing I think, and it's maybe the more important point, is that it's so vital for organizations, especially in this kind of digital first remote world, to have the structures and the infrastructure in place such that you can encourage culture development and encourage teamwork and collaboration or whatever brand code you want your employer brand to be tied to, and to make sure that you have the systems that allow for that. And so a good example is a tool that we use in-house, and it's called Bonusly. And basically what Bonusly does is it allots every employee with a number of points each month, and those points can be redeemed for they have dollar value, so they can redeem for gift cards or cash or different things. You can make a donation with it to a different charitable organization, and so but having these points is quite powerful from an employee standpoint, because you then have I wouldn't say leverage, but you then have these tools which allow you to say thank you or encourage other kind of behaviors at work. And so you can go and ask for help with some technology issue that you're having, or if you need help with a spreadsheet, for example, you can go ask the subject matter expert at your organization and say, thank you, here's 50 points, thanks for the help with that project. And so having something like this in place at your organization has three main benefits, I'd say. And so the first is that it gives it puts the onus of culture development back onto the employees and onto the team members. And so for example, let's say your organization wants to build a culture of collaboration. That's an easy one to hit on first. You can start to see where having a tool in place and motivating maybe your managers to start, or certain kind of more vocal members of your team to start pushing out these points and saying thank you for different collaborative projects. It would start to bleed into the rest of the organization, just by virtue of everybody seeing it in kind of their Slack channel, for example. And so a system like this and having the communications tool in place, you're allowed to then, or it motivates the kind of the characteristics that you want to see in your culture as an organization, and you can start to encourage people to help you build those characteristics across the org chart. The second thing that having a communications platform or a rewards platform in place, or these digital kind of platforms in place, is that it encourages participation. I think one of the hardest things for an organization to do in kind of this COVID world, so to speak, is to onboard employees or onboard new hires and have them kind of immediately engage with the culture. It's all very difficult behind a computer and everything through Zoom, and if you've only met everybody through Zoom. And so having a little rewards program like this or a communications tool allows people to encourage their team members to participate. So I give so and so 70 points for helping me with a project, and they may then ask somebody else to for a hand with something, and then give them 50 points, and then what you have is like, you've encouraged a behavior, again going back to the first point, but also encourage participation. And you can kind of do this with all your new hires and stuff, and it really kind of helps with getting them blended into the organization faster. And then the third and final point, and this is something that I've taken from NYU professor Adam Alter. So he says that kind of one of the key attributes of addiction, so to speak, is variable reward. So if you think of a casino, or if you think of even your social media, one of the reasons why we're as human beings we're so addicted to these things is that there are variable rewards at the end, right? The rewards are unexpected, and so that's one of the things that's great about even a bonusly program, is that because the employees don't know how many points they're going to get at the end of a project. Well, it encourages us to help out. It encourages us to do more projects that motivate others to give us points and things. And so it really has this kind of snowball effect in terms of building your culture. I mean, the nice thing about Bonusly is that it's structured in a way that it's workplace driven, and so that kind of addiction to doing good work and addiction to taking part in different projects is a net positive, versus if we think about maybe gambling or going to the casino and things. But that variable reward structure is very good in terms of, again, encouraging the right characteristics that you want to see in your organization. So kind of just going back to the point of the article, we're seeing big tech invest in these fun and collaborative ways to communicate with each other, which I think speaks to just how important those things are in an organization. If big tech is doing it, we can do it too. And so just something to think about, leaning into maybe a strong communications platform that you can build a reward structure on top of, is a great way to build culture at your organization.